Hey toy fans, I'm D21Beast and welcome back to my figure review series here on my YouTube channel, and today we are once again going boldly where no man has gone before. That's right, we're taking a look at another one in the line of the Star Trek The Next Generation figures from Art Asylum and Diamond Select. Now this particular figure happens to be Chief Miles O'Brien from really the first 5 seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation, and this figure was released in 2008. Now, Mr. O'Brien was played by actor Colm Meaney on the TV show Star Trek Next Generation, and in the subsequent series he appeared on, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But this is kind of how he looked when we first got used to him. And this is a really great figure. It's a little kind on the actor, if I may say. It's a bit slimmer than Colm Meaney is as an actor, but overall it's a great figure and I'm glad that they included it as part of the set. Let's go ahead and take a look at that sculpting and paintwork. Taking a look at the sculpting on this Miles O'Brien figure, I've got to point out that Art Asylum and Diamond Select were quite kind in how they rendered Colm Meaney's face. Overall, he's just generally slimmer than the actor really is. But outside of that, I'd say the head sculpt looks fairly passable for Colm Meaney. It's not perfect, and unfortunately my head sculpt has a scuff right there on the center of the nose, which I got the first night I got this guy out of the box. It's driven me crazy for years. But outside of that, he's got some nice sculpting work just in general, and he's got some hair sculpted on his head, every little strand, which is nice, and there's some paint variation there. And as we come down the figure, he does have his Chief Petty Officer rank on his collar there. Of course, O'Brien is one of the few characters in Star Trek history who is actually an enlisted man who just moved into Starfleet, so that was a nice bit of character backstory for that guy. And he has a sculpted comm badge on his chest here, and then he's got the standard mustardy yellow Operations Division color on his uniform there. And as we go down, he does have black pants like all the other uniform figures, and then the shiny glossy plastic for the black shoes on the feet. Coming around, he does have black on the back of his pants, and then again that same operations color on the back of his uniform. Let's go ahead and move on to accessories for Miles O'Brien. Chief Miles O'Brien comes with all the accessories that you see here. The first one we'll take a look at is this phaser, and unlike the other Star Trek reviews that I've done, this phaser doesn't really have any paint detailing. It's got a little bit there in the center, but otherwise it's just a solid silver phaser, and it is a different sculpt, I believe, or at least slightly different sculpt from what we've seen before. So you could tell that Art Asylum and Diamond Select were starting to reach the end of their run of the figures here. And taking a look now at this data pad, O'Brien has the same sort of waveform-esque pad that a couple of the other figures have had. It's got paint detail at the top there, and then some additional numbering and paint detail in the lower right. And this pad is a flat silver on the back. Moving along to the tricorder, we can see that Miles O'Brien does come with just as an impressive of a tricorder accessory as all the other figures in this line. All the details there that should be, and it does look like a pretty good stand-in for a show prop. And then this tricorder is a flat silver on the back. Finally, O'Brien comes with this bonsai tree. Now on Star Trek The Next Generation, I don't know that we ever saw Miles O'Brien with a bonsai tree. I believe this is from a scene in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. You can remind me in the comments for sure where it was. And of course his wife Keiko was a botanist, so it makes sense that he would have this tree in his possession. Taking a look at the articulation for this O'Brien figure, we can see that it's got pretty standard articulation that we've seen with the other Art Asylum figures. He does have a head that'll rotate 360 degrees, and it does have that neck pivot so his head can move around at different angles. He's got a 360 degree rotation at the shoulder, and his arm will come out this far and go back in. He's got upper bicep swivel, as well as a single jointed elbow. He has a wrist rotation, and the same articulation on the other side here. He does have a waist articulation that'll spin 360 degrees, and he does have those classic hip joints that bend out this far and return to standing position, as well as bending at the knee back that far and forward that far. And finally, he does have that foot articulation that bends up about that far and bends down about that far. So nothing too special with Miles O'Brien for articulation. Turning our attention to the height now for this figure, we can see that O'Brien does stand at just over 7 inches tall. And for size comparison, here we have O'Brien standing next to Captain Picard from the same figure line, and it's interesting to see that Picard is a bit taller than O'Brien, and it really kind of makes O'Brien look smaller than maybe he really should be. And for your Marvel Select collectors, here's O'Brien compared to Marvel Select Doctor Doom, and O'Brien compared to the Marvel Legends Infinite Series Wolverine in the 6-inch scale. And finally, here we have O'Brien compared to the 90s era Star Trek The Next Generation toy line. This is Beverly Crusher by Playmates. Okay, toy fans, well that's my review of the Art Asylum and Diamond Select Star Trek The Next Generation Chief Miles O'Brien figure released in 2008. And overall, I am happy with this figure. Miles O'Brien's a great character. He got some really good episodes to shine on Star Trek The Next Generation, and it was perfect to just make him a regular part of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the series that would then follow Star Trek The Next Generation. so he's definitely a must-have character for your collection since he's got quite a legacy with the show. And I think this figure's a great representation. Albeit slimmer and kinder, it is a great representation of Miles. So feel free to go out and pick up this figure. On the secondary market, he's rather unloved. He's going for about 10 bucks, so he's a really good price if you want to pick him up today. So I do encourage you guys to check him out. Well, that's my review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to rate, share, and subscribe. Also be sure to hit me up on Twitter at D21Beast. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hey toy fans, did you watch this review and find yourself wanting to know more about Miles O'Brien? Well, Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Deep Space Nine both stream on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, so take a look at these suggested episodes to learn more about this great character.